A poem about the world, involving 4 people: me, myself, and I, plus you. Me, myself, and I, which includes you. One was born in a city, one was born in the country, one was born somewhere under the sky. And we grew up in the city, we grew up in the country, we grew up somewheres we know not why. We 3 became the center of our surroundings, of our world, of our universe. Nothing was more important than I. Our children came first. In our job, we were immersed. And for fun and food, we did thirst. We followed the ways of the world. No, our possessions came first. Yet for pleasures we did thirst. To be blunt, in myself was I immersed. Seems like all came before God, including I. I loved to talk, but myself was shy. Me just loved to find things to buy. We followed the ways of the world. We lived in a mansion. We lived on a street. We were rich. We had nothing to eat. We followed the ways of the world. We laughed. And we cried. We were glad. And we sighed. We followed the ways of the world. Me, myself, and I, we were joyful. And we were mad. We were good. And we were bad. We followed the ways of the world. We had love. We had hate. We had anger, which was great. We set our hearts on the things of this world. We used this world, and the world used us. We told the truth, and we lied. But our eyes were never satisfied. We followed the ways of the world. We tried women. We tried men. We tried drugs. We tried sin. We followed the ways of the world. We were single. We were married. We had children, and some we buried. We followed the ways of the world. We knew what we'd done. We tried everything under the sun. We traveled all over the world. We had grief. We had fun. We had sorrow. We had none. We followed the ways of the world. We had a great job. We also had none. We were old. We were young. We followed the ways of the world. We went to the east. We went to the west. We tried philosophies. We tried all the best. We followed the ways of the world. We did everything there was that was under the sun to get some pleasure, to get some fun. Yet all was vanity as we followed the ways of the world. We thought no one cared. We felt so sad. We felt rejected. We felt so bad. We followed the ways of the world. We were sure we were right, certainly in our own sight. We liked the preaching that said to follow the ways of the world. Our children grew. Some prospered. Some died. Our sisters passed on. We hurt and cried. They all followed the ways of the world. Me, myself, and I. Our mother died. Our father cried. We wanted to live, We wanted to die, but we followed the ways of the world. Then a day came that Jesus called, but myself had said no, and I had stalled because we followed the ways of this world. Me, myself, and I, and you, we were religious, and we were hot, but toward Jesus we were not. We followed the ways of the world. We heard God's word. We rejected God's word. We saw a great light, but we chose the night. We followed the ways of the world. We had lived without Christ. In our sight, this was right. We had rejected God's word, which we had heard. God help us, we had followed the ways of the world. And then one day, I was struck by a car. Myself got sick. My body was marred. By a dog, I got bit. And I wondered about the ways of the world. Then as the light dimmed and the darkness set in, we looked back at our life. We considered our sin. We had followed the ways of the world. But we never knew life was only a test. We had never considered about the rest, for we had followed the ways of the world. Now we know there is life after death. And where would we be? We wanted to know, but we couldn't see, for we had followed the ways of the world. And then our eyes closed, and we were shocked to find no peace ahead, no peace of mind, because we had followed the ways of the world. We had the chance. Life was the test. The world praised us as we were laid to rest. We were faithful to the ways of the world. The clergy prescribed that when we had died, we had gone to a far better place, but they lied, for we had followed the ways of the world. Now, I greatly fear God, as the Bible had said, but now it's too late, and what is ahead I dread, for I had followed the ways of the world. Then came the day that we joined the others that chose the wrong path, that chose the wrong way. They followed the ways of the world. And then me and myself and I were judged. Terrified were we as we heard God speak, I know you not, depart from me, ye that work iniquity. For we had followed the ways of the world. To the fire we went, to eternal torment. It was for all that follow the ways of this world. There is no pride here. Can't you see? Can't you hear the weeping and gnashing of teeth? The worms cover us. My tongue it burns. Oh, for a sip of cool water, my tongue does yearn. The darkness is thick. My flesh is so sick. Don't follow the ways of the world. So stupid was I to reject God's Son, to reject His Word, so I could have fun. I followed the ways of the world. And what will you do when you come where I am? For time without end, you'll pay for your sin, for you also follow the ways of the world.